So I wanted to ask you what's your impression of the London restaurant scene. I mean, I know you're just here a few days.
Yeah, it's hard for me to really give you an overall impression of the restaurant, the London scene. I can tell you, Bar Balloon being here, and I can talk about Heston and dining. Jason's, or we went to St. John's Hotel afterwards. So I think about just those four individual chefs.
Yeah.
Fergus has been a favorite chef of not just myself, but chefs the world over. I mean, one of the reasons that we started coming to the restaurant awards was so that we could get St. John's. That was what was more important, the awards or St. John's. It was a neck and neck. Throughout the.
I was there last night.
Yeah, throughout the beginning, throughout the first years. I mean, it was just a wonderful thing. And then, to see St. John's Hotel, that's where we went last night, St. John's Hotel. Fergus, wonderful man, and Trevor as well. Jason, to watch Jason grow, from his days with Gordon, and see, and just see that progression. And I'm not that close with Jason, but it just makes you proud, to see a young chef, do the same things that you did as a young chef, and see that effort succeed in the realization of the restaurant. I mean, that's just an extraordinary thing. Danielle here at Bar Balloon,
fantastic job.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And I remember, talking to David Nichols about doing, Bouchon here, and realizing that it wasn't going to work for me, and then see that.
What were you going to do here? Sorry.
Bouchon. We're going to do a French bistro.
Yes.
Kind of the same, different design, but the same style. And to see that realized for Danielle is just amazing. And then Heston has been a big friend. So, to see his success upstairs.
That's incredible, isn't it?
It's good. So, that's my impression of the restaurant dining scene in London today. Snapshot.
Why didn't you come in here, though?
Well, there were a couple things. I mean, at the beginning, there were some questions whether they could actually do a proper kitchen for this restaurant, and so that was certainly one of the big concerns of mine. But they worked that out and with Danielle, and it was really good. So, and for me, going international has always been a good question. And not one that I've answered yet.
When were you looking at coming here? When were you talking about coming here?
Well, before.
So a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I guess it was a couple of years ago. Just before. Yeah, at the same time, when they started talking to Danielle, then they stopped talking to me.
Any regrets now?
No, not at all. I mean, no. I mean, I'm very excited for the Mandarin group. I'm very excited for Danielle. I'm very excited for Preston because they're all friends, And how can you regret anything that happens with your friends?
If you were doing restaurant abroad, where would London figure in that? Would that be your most likely place, do you think?
London is a city that I have great affection for, and if it's interesting when you say if. I remember an article years ago when I was a young chef, and they were doing a piece in New York Magazine, and the journalist was asking some well-known young chefs what they would eat at home, what they cooked at home, and I'm like, well, I'm always at work, I don't really cook at home, and there was a pause on the other end, and she thought for a moment, and she said, well, if you did cook at home, what would it be? It's hard to say if,
Yes.
London is a fabulous city as much as New York is, as much as Hong Kong is, as much as Tokyo is. And they're just you think about these extraordinary cities, and you have the opportunity to go to any one of them. Which one would you choose? I don't know. There's so many other details that are involved in the decision. You can't just say.
How long have you been coming to London? When did you first come?
I first came to London in 1999. Yeah.
Oh, really? It was the first time? So
yeah.
I was going to ask you about the changes, but in 10 years, well, I suppose there have been changes.
We realized that as a young chef, most of my time was spent working, not traveling. So I didn't travel a lot. In 1999, I opened the French Laundry in '94, so my head was down at the restaurant for quite some time. And then traveling here regularly, basically since the Restaurant Awards, as I said, which was 2001. 2002, right? Yeah.
Have you noticed any changes in that time, in that 8-10 years, or?
Well, enormous changes. I mean, the excitement in London has grown. As it relates to the number of restaurants that are and the chefs. I mean, Marco Pierre White or the Roux brothers, were really the kind of the beginning of recognition, at least for me, in my lifetime. And then transition to Marco Pierre White, and then of course Gordon, and Heston. I mean, and all of that, so just the foundation, continues to become stronger, and of course you have all of the young chefs that have worked for those chefs going out there. Jason's the perfect example of that. And you have Claude Boissy now, and
even Marcus Waring's been chef.
Yeah, Marcus Waring, so it's just fabulous. It's the same thing that's happened in America. When you think about what's happened in America, since my career began 36 years ago. It kind of parallels what's happened here.
What about this pop-up you're looking at doing in London? Can you tell me about that?
Well, we're still talking to Harrods about, the potential of doing the pop-up restaurant. Nothing has been decided yet, so it's kind of in, conversation.
When would it be if you were doing it?
We don't really know yet. Sometime this year. Yeah, I'm not really sure. We'd have to get to the point where we had some kind of clear understanding of what we were trying to achieve, other than just, let's do a pop-up restaurant, which is an intriguing idea. But with that, there's so many details.
If you were to do it, what would you look at? What would you like to do?
Well, I think the most important thing is that you're going to try to represent what you do at home. Because the expectations are that. It's Thomas Keller or whoever. Whatever chef's coming over to do something that's temporary like that. Your first expectation is that you're going to recreate what you do at home in a significant way, and I think that's the important thing. And when we talk about what we do at home, or at any restaurant, cooking is a very simple equation. It's about ingredients and technique. So, if I'm coming here just with my techniques to use the ingredients that are indigenous to this country, available in this country, then we're really kind of missing half of the equation, and I don't want to do that. So I think the most important thing is to be able to understand that we need to appreciate the quality of the ingredients that we've been using at the French Laundry for 16 years, that I've been using as my career for 25 years, and those suppliers, whether they're farmers, whether they're fishermen, gardeners, foragers, and really be able to bring that story of the French Laundry to a pop-up restaurant, wherever that pop-up restaurant is. And we do, once a year, we do a promotion, outside of international, whether it's Singapore or Stockholm or Germany or the Rheingau, or last year in Hong Kong. And the first time we've really been able to achieve that the totality of an experience was in Hong Kong, where we took all of the ingredients, and we had 18 of our suppliers represented on the menu there for 5 days.
Well, where did you do that?
At Mandarin. Yeah.
If you did a pop-up, is 5 days the kind of period you look at doing these things?
I think we're talking about 10. I think we're talking about 10 days, actually.
Might you call it French Laundry at Harrods?
I don't know what we call it. Again, that's still a discussion. Is it French Laundry? Is it Thomas Keller? Is it I think it's do we do just the French Laundry, or do we do per se the French Laundry? Do we add Bouchon to the mix in some way? Is there the bakery aspect? I mean, there's we have a lot of opportunities. Is there a boutique? I designed for Christophe, I designed for Renault, I endorse Allclad. We've written 5 books. I mean, there's all this opportunity. We make our own wine, so there's a lot of collateral opportunity as well. So, just drilling down to all the details and trying to understand what the opportunities are, so that we start to put our fingers on which ones we really feel we can accomplish in a significant way.
I just feel we're up to April now. It seems quite
well
into the year already.
I'm not going to push it if we can't do it. In a way that's going to represent Harrods and Thomas Keller, to the level that we both feel is going to represent the integrity and example of what we do. There's no point in doing it, is there?
It would be amazing if you do it, I have to say.
Yeah, it would be amazing. I mean, if we don't do it this year, it's not like we have to rush it for any reason.
Do you remember the Pierre Kaufman puppet? You heard about that?
Yeah. I remember back in the day when Paul Prudhomme. You remember who Paul Prudhomme was?
Yeah, I do.
Paul Prudhomme did a pop-up restaurant. His restaurant in New Orleans burned down. It burned down one year, and so he did a pop-up restaurant, I think, in 5 cities in America while they were rebuilding. He came to New York, he went to Chicago, L.A., San Francisco, for 2 or 3 weeks at a time. It was magnificent. I mean, the lines were out the door,
It would be fantastic if you did this. Are you in any kind of discussion about opening a restaurant here, a proper restaurant?
No, not right now.
Would you ever think about moving here for a year or two to do something?
I don't know if it's an interesting time for chefs, and it requires a lot of contemplation on my part. I'm 55 years old now. I've done and been part of some really extraordinary things. Do I need another restaurant? It'd be great for who?
It'd be great for London. Yeah, that'd be for you.
And that's where every chef gets into that kind of rationale about pleasing everybody. That's how we're wired. We want to give you what you want. So if you say we really want to have you in London, then my thoughts start, my body, my mind starts to kick in and say, well, how can I give them what they want? Because that's what I've been doing for 40 years, is giving my guests what they want. So why wouldn't I give you what you want by coming to London, right? But at some point in your life, you have to say, okay, wait a minute, I have to maybe be a little, I don't want to say selfish, but a little more responsible to me, because if your entire life is made up of giving to everybody, which more than likely you sometimes have diminished giving to yourself. I mean, I went out to play Wentworth yesterday because I really wanted to. I could have been doing other things, for the restaurant or for you or for anybody. But I said, you know what? I just want to take 4 or 5 hours for myself and go play around the golf in a country where I've never played golf before. And it was splendid to walk around the countryside and see the azaleas blooming, the trees.
Well, I'm 57. Yeah. There comes an age when at some stage you have to think, hold on, I'll enjoy stuff, right?
Right. So it's not that I don't enjoy. It's not that I don't enjoy being, a chef and a restaurateur. I mean, that's, it's a very compelling thing to do, and very satisfying and gratifying on so many levels. But you start to realize, as you know, that we're not 35 years old anymore, and we're not immortal. And the time's going to come, sooner than later, that we're going to have to slow down anyway, because the physical activity that's going to be required to do anything that you want to do is not going to be there. The physical ability.